This is Copilots, the podcast where we watch not just the first episode of a show,
but also the second. Some shows just don't have the best pilot episode, and giving it that second chance might just change your mind.
Here, we take that chance for you and let you know our opinion on if a show deserves more than just one shot.
I'm Justice. Alongside me is my co-pilot Josh. Now, let's get ready for takeoff. Your in-flight entertainment this week will be Reservation Dogs.
Dogs is the new FX original TV show. It's also on Hulu by Taika Waititi. You might know him from, I don't know, any number of things he's done. He was in Green Lantern.
What We Do in the Shadows?
He was in Free Guy.
Yeah.
He did some Marvel stuff, I think.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Like that Thor movie that was really, really good. Dark World, that's the one.
Yeah.
He didn't do Dark World. That was a joke. He did Ragnarok, the good Thor. Anyways, he's also one of the executive producers and directors of this show, Reservation Dogs, which is described as a dark comedy about Native American life in the modern United States.
Yeah, so, it's definitely going to be kind of dark, because we're kind of shitty to our indigenous people. And kind of just shitty to anyone that's not white, or straight, or likes guns, or God. We might have some issues in America.
So, Reservation Dogs opens up with a radio program, which acts as our initial exposition for the scene.
So, I'd like to say something real quick.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to complain this time. Reservation Dogs, Episode 1, fucking Res Dog.
Why am I not allowed to complain?
Because the episode thing is my thing. You didn't fucking do it this time.
It used to be my thing, but at this point, I just rely on you.
Because you don't fucking remember.
I really felt like it was an important aspect of the show when we started, because I think what people name their episodes does matter.
Yeah, no, it does have weight, but you've come across so many fucking things that don't name them.
Or like the first episode is just called Pilot.
Which really gives you that flavor of the show. So many shows are about, people driving or controlling something. I don't know what. It's been really unclear in a lot of these, but they're piloting something.
That's where we got our name from. A pilot's the first episode. Co-pilots.
That doesn't make any sense. You're just dumb.
It was your idea, motherfucker.
So anyways, Reservation Dogs opens with what was that thing on? I heard a voice. It was really crackly.
Yeah,
What's the thing called?
So it was a radio program. It's basically telling us that
a radio program.
Yeah. Like when you are in a car and it plays music, but you don't have anything connected to it.
That doesn't make sense. But okay. Suspension of disbelief. I got it.
Or like those old radios that I used to have, like
suspension of disbelief. Got it. Let's go.
You had a boombox, a radio.
I know. I'm clearly joking.
It's not just me. I mean, I know I'm older than you, but not that much older than you.
So we open up with a DJ kind of just welcoming people.
While we're on this, you guys ever have a radio that could pick up TV channels before TV went digital?
Yeah, that
shit
weird,
was the coolest. Right? I had a radio that you could listen to Fox on or CW before they all went digital and you can't pick them up on radio anymore. Anyways, yeah, so we start with a radio program that it lays the scene for us. It tells us that we're in a reservation in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And we get some just feel for this area of Oklahoma.
Because we're panning in along the city from the sky down around a bit.
And then he plays a song for he says that the radio DJ says it's a throwback.
Yeah.
And we see 4 teenagers wearing bandanas over their faces, and they're getting ready to steal a chip truck.
Yeah, and what I like
is a potato chip truck.
Yeah. What I like is that here they're communicating with hand signs that I'm pretty sure isn't all ASL, but appears to have a very solid base in ASL. From what I know, the tiny bit of ASL that I've seen, it looks like it. I might just be straight up wrong.
I have no idea. My ASL is very, very minimal at best. Anyways, they wait for the driver to go in the store where he's delivering these chips at, and they run, take the truck, and take off. There is a brief argument between 2 of the teenagers, though.
Yeah, but also, as they go, the moment they go to steal the truck and sprint out from behind their cover, is the moment the song really hits in, which is just great.
Mm-hmm.
I love that shit. So
the 2 teenagers that are in the front of the truck argue about seatbelts.
And then the route they should take to take this truck wherever they're taking it.
Yep, so we get 2 characters here, Bear and Allura.
Laura Dannon, which, if you recognize, that's from the movie Willow. It is mentioned in the show. We'll get to it.
So Bear and Allura argue. Allura doesn't think wearing seatbelts is cool, especially when you're in the middle of stealing a truck.
And Bear's just like, yeah, but you're stealing a truck. What if you get involved in a chase or some shit? You need the seatbelt. It keeps you safe.
But the basics of this comes down to Bear is kind of a cautious individual, and Allura is not. They get to the point where they should turn because they're taking this truck somewhere. And Bear's like, we need to turn here. And Laura's like, it's faster if we go straight. And Bear's like, yeah, but...
That takes you past Big, who is apparently a police officer in the area.
She doesn't turn because she cares more about speed than safety.
You gotta go fast.
And they tear by Big. We should have noted this entire time, the ramp that you would trolley the boxes of chips out is still down because they didn't manage to slide that back in before they took off.
Dude, those things are shit. I don't blame them.
Yeah, no, it's a pain in the ass.
You gotta, like, push and lift up and then pull back and then drop and then slide down and jiggle it in until it locks in place.
And then you got 2 step to the left and, like, 3 hops this time. And
no one's gonna get that reference. It's a bad song.
Everybody, at least your age, will get that reference.
So... they drive past Big, but luckily he doesn't notice because he's too busy watching a conspiracy video about the JFK assassination on his phone.
Man, I have never, like...
had an immediate feel for a character so fast. He was just like, I know what this man is. I know who he is.
I know this man in real life. The version I know isn't Native American. He's white, but I know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they eventually arrive at a junkyard where they are greeted by a bunch of white trash.
I would just like to point out that I think this is where my notes, just to note that I am a classier individual than you. You called it a junkyard, and my notes I call it a salvage yard.
Laura calls the people at this junkyard meth heads. I think it's the junkyard.
I mean, yeah, probably, but I didn't know that. I didn't see the meth heads yet.
So they arrive at the junkyard. They're greeted by a guy whose name I am forgetting. We get it later, not here though.
Ansel. A-N-S-E-L. Ansel.
Yes, Ansel.
And to quote Laura exactly, when she pulls up and sees them, it's fucking meth head zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, Ansel is the whitest motherfucker you've ever met.
So I recognize him. I've seen him in so many things. I just don't know his name as an actor.
I'm pretty sure he's in Idiocracy.
He's
not the main character in Idiocracy, but he's one of the characters.
I think he's in there. I think he might be in like Pineapple Express as well. He kind of generally, from what I remember of him, plays kind of the dumb guy.
Yeah.
Or the pothead. One of the two, which is they're basically the same character stereotype.
But yeah, so they arrive at the junkyard, they meet Ansel, and he like kicks the truck and is like, yep, that's a solid truck. Like he thinks it's gold or something, and that like...
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Like, he then tells them that Kenny Boy is waiting for them in the office.
Mm-hmm. And then he says, that's your cue, because he's trying to make a joke, because he was using a pull cue to intimidate them. Yes. It wasn't funny. No one laughed.
So we get the 4 of them. 3 of them are going into the office, and Bear tells the guy who appears to be the youngest of the group to wait at the truck. Just to go through them real fast, we got a Laura. She's the dangerous wild card.
Or Laura Dannon, the dangerous wild card.
We got Bear, the de facto leader.
We have Willie Jack, the vaguely rebellious, tough one.
And then we got Cheese. He's the youngest one.
Yeah. He's the youngest, kind of quirky one that everyone kind of just likes, because every group has to have one of them.
I love Cheese. So the 4 of them go into the office.
Well, 3 of them leave Cheese behind to watch the chips.
Three go into the office, and they meet Kenny Boy, who they've met before.
Who I also recognize.
I think they've had him meet him before, right? Because like...
Yeah, I assume they've met him. They just don't directly cover it, because we're dropped right into this.
But like
truck heist.
But he like talks like it's the first time he's met them. He's like, so somebody tells me that you're the best bandits in the reservation.
Yeah.
Well, best bandits in town. Small town, though. Like, he acts like it's the first time he's met them, but, like, we get flashbacks where he's obviously met them before.
Yeah. So, they introduce themselves to him.
Essentially, I'm saying that this scene is bad writing. It's funny, but it doesn't fit with
I'm not sure if it's bad writing, because it might just be that they've done work for Kenny before, but never actually met him in person.
Oh, that's fair. That could be it.
That kind of feels like what it might be.
I feel like that when we see them deliver copper, he's there when they deliver the copper.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Anyways, he buys the chip truck from them, and then Willie and Laura kind of like elbow and hiss at Bear, and he's like, oh yeah, can we have the chips?
Yeah, but this is also the point where I mentioned that I would bring up the fact that the movie Willow is mentioned, because the moment that Bear introduces us to Laura, Kenny is apparently quite a movie buff, because he goes on about, well, did you know that Laura Dannon, the baby in the movie Willow, made by Ron Howard, a great picture, by the way. That's basically Kenny talking. I agree. I enjoy Willow, but Kenny is a film buff. He likes Willow. Was actually played by 2 twins. That way neither would get fatigued, because you don't really want a crying baby on set. And he's just kind of going off about that, and then just kind of tapers off at the end. Like, all of a sudden, he's just like, okay, take your money, go. Yeah. Like, he just, like, remembered, oh, wait, I'm doing crime stuff.
Yeah, and then Bear's like, can we have the chips? And Kitty's like, give me $1.
Yeah.
And, like, Bear's, like, sorting through the money really fast, and he's like, just give me $1, $1. And Bear gives the $1 over. He's like, yeah, you can have the chip.
Yeah. And then they're just sitting there like, this is where you get up and go. Go on, go.
But while this is happening outside, Cheese is hanging out at the truck, and Ansel's out there, and all the other white meth heads are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And Cheese kind of like looks at Ansel and goes, "My name is Cheese. My pronouns are he, him, and his." And Ansel looks at him, and Ansel, again, the whitest motherfucker you've ever seen, goes, "Cool. I'm a Native American."
To which Cheese kind of just nods, and Ansel backs the fuck away and leaves. And then we see them walking with lots of boxes of chips to their secret base.
We get the splash screen for the title,
Mm-hmm.
Reservation Dogs, and then Bear via, like...
VHS recording, it feels like, because the grainy quality of it.
Yeah.
And then when he's showing it in class, I think they literally stop a VHS tape.
Yeah, so he gives a tour of, like,
Kinda
the
just what they do.
reservation, like, them and what they do, and, like, it's talking about how this is their secret base. He can't tell anybody where it's at because it's secret, obviously. This is where they, like, hang out and eat catfish, and, like, this is the art that Willie has done on the walls and stuff because she spray paints and tags stuff.
Yeah. And basically by establishing, like, 2 key locations and that they do crime more than just stealing stuff, we then cut to a classroom where the teacher's like, "Okay, good job, that's good," and goes to stop it.
No, because, like, that's not all of it.
Oh, is it not? I thought that was.
No, because this video also talks about how they're trying to, like, save up money because they're trying to get
yeah.
out of the reservation because their friend Daniel died last year.
And they're blaming it on, like, the conditions of the reservation, so they want to get the fuck out. So they don't also die
The
here.
video also mentions that they're having a memorial for him in a couple days.
Did it? I missed that part.
Yep. Also, we get a brief instance of them hanging around outside of Big's police cruiser and talking about how terrible at his job Big is.
Yeah. How he thinks he's hot shit and he's not.
Yep. So we cut from the school to a yard.
Mm-hmm. They're just sitting out front of this house. Lawn chairs, a cooler with a lid up, and a cardboard thing taped to it that says 50 cents, chips.
Yep, they're selling the flaming flamers that they stole from the truck. And this is the scene that kind of sets up their rivals because, like, the show is about a gang on an Indian reservation. It's going to have, like, a gang war idea to it a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, they're all teenagers, so it's not, like, I guess I should say it's not, like, serious gang violence and shit, because they're actually doing real crime, stealing cars and shit.
Yeah.
But, like, so far, it's not any legitimate, like...
Big time, like, crime, like...
Yeah.
Drug smuggling,
But
murder,
while they're selling
human
these
smuggling...
Well, they're selling these flaming flamers.
Human trafficking. What did I say? Human smuggling? I guess you smuggle humans when you traffic them. Whatever.
When they're selling the flaming flamers, we get introduced to a bunch of side characters.
There.
We don't get any names here, but, like, we're introduced to characters who will show up later in the series.
Yeah. And I think one of the characters we see might be Taika Waititi in just an outfit buying chips. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
it was very, very brief.
Because there's a couple characters here who never come up again, at least in these 2 episodes. We are introduced to about 5 characters in this scene who are established characters that will show up again later. 2 of them being 2 indigenous people with dwarfism.
Yeah. And they drop some pretty fire bars that I just wasn't expecting. They're not the best, but they're pretty good. My only complaint is they just kind of keep rhyming with the word pop. But other than that, it was...
Honestly, it's a bit of a jam. Like,
yeah, like, I
I'd like to
enjoy
hear
it.
the full song.
Yeah.
Then we jump into Bear's house, where we see him taking the money that they've made and putting it in a cash box, which is just a shoebox that he ties shut.
Yeah, he's just shoving it underneath his bed.
We also encounter his mother here because he has to take a pee, but his mother is in the bathroom.
We also see him. I can't tell if he's stealing cash from his mother's purse.
No, actually, he's putting money in her purse.
I couldn't tell if he was stealing it from her or putting it in her purse. Yeah, it was hard to tell. With,
it's a bit of a bait and switch. Like, it makes it look like he's trying to steal money from her purse, which, with what we know of his character so far, makes sense.
See, I was thinking he put it in there though, just because we did see him put his cash like where he was storing it, and he did that before he got in her purse. So I was like, eh.
Yeah, so he put like a 20 or something in her wallet, and he's like, "Hey, I need to take a pee." She's like, "I'm busy, he's still getting ready." He's like, "What you got going on tonight? You going to work?"
And she's like, "No, I'm going out with some friends." And he's like, "Who are you going out with?" And she just like kind of calls him grandpa. And there's like, "Don't you think it's time I got you a new dad?" And he's just like, "But I have a dad."
Yeah, so they get into kind of argument here. Nothing's resolved. He kind of just walks out, back out
but
to
we
the...
also do learn that his dad is an out-of-work rapper.
Yeah, his dad's a rapper.
And his mother jokes, maybe jokes about getting like a new lawyer dad for him or a doctor dad.
Yeah. This scene doesn't really have a resolution because he walks out back to the yard where everybody is still selling flaming flamers.
And just as he gets out, Big pulls up in his police car.
Not just yet, because when he gets out there, Willie Jack is trying to get money out of the gas, the motorcycle gas can they're using to store.
And they're just like, "Why'd you put it in there?" She's like,
"It's safe in there.
I told you guys not to trust me with the money."
It's a good scene. Good funny. Ha ha. And then Big pulls up.
Yeah.
And like they quickly hurry to hide the evidence that they're selling anything. Like the cooler that they have all the chips in, and
it's
the sign that says
Well, the sign is on the inside of the cooler lid,
Yeah.
so they just close it, and then I think Bear's the one that sits on it.
I thought it was Allura.
It might be Allura. Someone sits on the cool
Yeah, it was either Bear or Willie Jack, actually. Sorry, Allura's in the...
lawn chair.
Yeah. So Bear comes up and he's like, you guys hear about that truck got stolen?
Big comes up, says that.
Sorry, Big.
Yeah.
You hear about that truck that got stolen?
Right in broad daylight.
Brazen. These criminals are getting braver and braver.
And when he's initially talking about it, it seems very much like he knows it's them.
Yep.
But then he continues to talk about just how brazen these criminals are.
Yeah, last week, two cars got stolen. Copper from 20 different streetlights.
All the steaks from Patterson's grocery station. They took all of them.
Old lady Louise had her medicinal edibles stolen from
Right
her
off her
porch.
porch. She has those for her cataracts.
And there's been profane graffiti showing up everywhere.
Of penis and boobies.
Penis and boobies. You kids see anything like that? And they're like, nope, can't say I have. He's like,
Well, he's just like, okay, whatever. Honestly, though, I'm not too concerned about that. I'm more concerned about the supernatural things going on around here. And then he talks about some farmer, I think it was.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, this farmer at the edge of the res said he spotted the deer lady. She hasn't been spotted around here in years.
Yeah. And then I think it's Cheese that says...
No, Willie Jack. That's Willie Jack that says this.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
My uncle's been fucking the deer lady for like the past 3 years.
Yeah, no, she says, my uncle was married to the deer lady for 3 years. And she goes, bullshit.
Yeah.
And then
but
she goes...
Big seems rather interested in like that idea.
And then Willie goes, nah, he's got nudie pictures of her. He said so.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Big's like, Then he turns to Barry and he's like, hey, your mom home?
And Bear's just like, no, you just missed her. She just left.
She just left. And he's like, well, tell her I stopped by. Tell her I was looking for her.
And then Big takes off in his police car. And the others just start cracking jokes about how Big's trying to become his new dad, trying to get up with his mom and shit.
Yep. They then close up shop for the Flaming Flamers for the day and head to get catfish and lunch.
At Robin Cleo's.
At Robin Cleo's, yep. But on their way there, the three people who were watching them while they were selling Flaming Flamers, didn't really mention them, but like I said, introduces 5 characters in this scene. Mm-hmm. The rappers, and then 3 guys who were watching them across the street.
And there's 3 individuals. I was initially confused because 2 of them were wearing red bandanas and 1 was wearing blue, and I'm just like, I feel like this is supposed to be like another rival gang, but without like a uniform coloration, because the 4 we meet here all have black bandanas.
No, they still have blues and reds.
No. Our 4 main characters all have a black bandana.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
The 3 we see across have blue and red. So, like, our main characters are uniform across on that color, and our new rivals aren't. So I was like, I'm confused by this. Are they meant to be a rival, like, gang, or are they just some...
When those 3 walk off,
whatever,
the person in the middle, the leader-looking girl says, well, we need to go get White Steve.
Yeah. And
so this is the debut of White Steve. He's all four of these rival gang members in blue and red bandanas drive by and open fire on our main characters. And our main characters get hit multiple times. They're all down.
It's a very, very dramatic scene. Everything kind of slows down.
Cheese gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
And, all our main characters are dead.
It was paintballs, okay?
Man, way to kill the swerve. Way to kill it.
Yeah. We did miss one thing briefly, because on their way, Allura is apparently like their treasurer almost, in charge of their cash flow and money. Because Allura is the one calculating, like, well, if we can only spend like $2 each on catfish. And if we do that, saving up our money on our current rate, we should be able to go to LA in like 2 months.
Because they're trying to get to California.
Like everyone else.
Yeah, but after they get pelted by paintballs, Bear is knocked unconscious. And he gets a vision of an unknown warrior.
I would just like to call him a wimp real quick, because he's not even the person who got shot in the fucking head.
But he gets a vision of an unknown warrior, an Indian, a Native American, as he said. He calls himself an Indian first. He's like, probably call me an indigenous person now.
Yeah.
My name, though, William Knifeman.
Yeah.
And William Knifeman died when his horse...
He died at the Battle of Little Big Horn.
But he died when his horse stepped in a gopher hole and flipped and landed on him and killed him.
Yeah. And now it's his job to kind of wander around the spirit world and help other people. Which sucks, apparently, because the spirit world's cold, so his nips are constantly hard.
And he's always hungry.
Yeah, it's just not a good time for him.
But William Knifeman asks Bear, he's like, so what are you doing for your people? I died for my people. And this kind of like, when Bear wakes up, makes him feel guilty about the stuff they've been doing.
Yeah.
But anyways, when he does wake up, the group is approached by Mose and Miko, the 2 rappers from earlier.
Yeah, and they're just commenting on this shootout.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, that was the Indian Mafia. And their leader, Jackie, just moved in down by somebody else whose name I don't remember right now.
Yeah.
Turns out that Moe's actually told the Indian Mafia that Bear, Laura,
Cheese, and
Willie Jack were all a gang called the Reservation Bandits.
And they're the toughest people around.
And Bear's like, why would you do that?
I would also like to point out the Indian Mafia isn't the word Indian, it's the letters N-D-N.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why they just got shot by paintballs. It's because Moe's told the Indian Mafia that they were the Reservation Bandits and the toughest gangsters in town.
So, from the way they phrase it, I think the woman who moved in is like a relative to the girl who's in charge of these people we meet, because her name's Jackie.
So, yeah, Jackie moved in with her, like...
aunt, I think?
Yeah, and her aunt...
is fine, according to Mo and Miko. But, so Jackie then also had her cousins initiated, and here's where Mo and Miko speculate that because they were just initiated that, they've probably killed some people. And, that, maybe you guys should be careful because they're pretty dangerous, and I think they're going to come for you guys next. So watch out. Be careful.
Yeah.
In fact, they wanted us in the gang, but we kind of just want to see how this all plays out for.
Yep. We then cut to Rob and Cleo's market where the gang is all hanging out getting catfish.
Mm-hmm. And we see Cheese just kind of staring at some stuff on the shelves. And we see Rob, clearly one of the proprietors of the place. He's just like, Cheese, if you're going to steal something, let me know so I can write it off the book.
You have to let me know. That's how that's how it works.
You have to let me know. So she just grabs the sucker and holds it up, and Rob's like, "Okay, thanks. That's all you have to do."
It's a great scene. It's hilarious, and stores do have to write all that stuff off, so it is easier for him
if he knows what's taken. Yeah,
but at the same time, if you're just telling them you stole it,
Mm-hmm.
But while they're sitting there eating their catfish, the driver who had the potato chip truck,
Mississippi Miles,
is that his name?
That's what Rob calls him.
And he comes in the store, and he comes up and he's talking to
Rob
Cleo.
He's talking to Rob at the desk about how he's had a really shitty day. Yeah,
Cleo drops off the catfish to the crew.
Yeah, and tells the crew that they look like shit.
Yep. And Mississippi Miles is talking to Rob, and he's like, been a terrible day. And Rob goes,
yeah, I heard they're letting you go, right? But it could be worse. And Miles is just like, could it?
I'm going to let you handle this because I just took notes, Justice took quotes.
So I didn't take direct quotes. That was too much. But I have the entire...
The difference between my note-taking and his note-taking, for this show at least, is I note, he quote.
So Rob's just like, it could be worse. Miles just, I don't think so. So he starts going about all the shit. He's like, I got fired because the truck was stolen, and apparently when the truck gets stolen on your watch, they just can't hold on to you, so they let me go. And then my wife just left me because I got fired, and she took everything. I'm bankrupt. There's no food in the house. The only thing in the house is a bag of sugar. And, diabetes, so my toes are black. They're talking about taking my leg. We weren't designed to have only one leg. We ain't flamingos. And he just rants about that for a bit. And then Miles just ends it all with, I guess it could be worse. And Rob was just like, could it? And then Miles turns the head out and he kind of just leaves, and we leave the scene with Miles talking to the four of them. He's just like, enjoy your lives, the laughter, the smiles, because you never know when all that shit could just disappear.
He says because you never know when a bunch of
hooligans, I think he said?
Rascals could just steal the truck and make it all disappear.
Yeah.
And while Miles is talking to Rob about all this, Bear gets these visions of Miles in his face being
calling him equivocally a piece of shit.
You feel good about yourself, you piece of shit? You ruined my life. I'm gonna lose my foot because of you. So
I hope these new bad guys around are gonna fuck you up, basically.
So we cut back to the secret base where the group is all hanging around, and Willie Jack signs to Laura. And she's like,
why is Bear being such a little bitch?
Yeah, Laura shrugs and then throws something at Bear. And Bear's like, fuck off.
I'm depressed. And then she's just like...
He doesn't say he's depressed because Cheese goes, are you depressed? 1 in 5 Native Americans suffer with depression.
Yeah.
Because Cheese is the best.
Yeah.
He's just like, I love Cheese so much.
So then Bear's just talking about well, we've done some really shitty stuff. And I think we should, give the truck back and help out and give back that money, give the money to Miles so he can maybe not lose his foot, because that's totally how diabetes works. You just put money into your body and the diabetes goes.
And Willie Jack is like, fuck that, I ain't giving my money back.
And Willie Jack walks off, and then Allura and him are just arguing about it. And
Allura's argument is the entire place already is suck. It's already a shithole.
And they should just get out.
Yeah, what they're doing doesn't make it any worse than what it already is. And they're just doing what it takes for them to get out and survive.
Yeah, so she argues and storms off. And we end this scene with Cheese just, now I'm depressed.
Yep. We then get a cut of Allura hanging out at the secret hideout by herself, looking at a picture of Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to Bear getting home that night. and he sees Daniel under a streetlight, but then blinks and Daniel's gone.
Was it Daniel? Kind of just a shadowy figure.
Yeah, but he's like it's supposed...
He says Daniel.
Yeah, he says Daniel, but then he blinks and that figure is gone.
And then we start off with the next morning. He's just chilling on his bed, listening to music. When Alora rolls up outside his window and knocks on it.
Man, he has the window open, so she kind of just knocks on
the windowsill.
The board.
I mean, that's the windowsill.
Is that what it's called?
Kind of, I guess. I don't know. Window board? She knocks around the vicinity of something that is part of the window frame system. And he takes his headphones off, and she offers him a meat pie that Willie Jack made. And
indeed.
They kind of just talk, and she's like, well, I have my money, my part. Maybe we can buy the truck back for half of it. Because you're not going to get it. You're not going to get money from Willie Jack or Cheese. They split most.
Yeah, and she's like, maybe we could tell those rednecks that the truck depreciated in value since they bought it. So we then cut to the junkyard, and they buy the truck back.
It's
basically just some axles and a little bit of frame, and no tires.
What looked like the back door panel.
Yep. And Kenny Boy's like, well,
you guys lost this one, but
you'll have to fight another day.
Yeah.
Hey, what is
Hoka
it?
Hey.
Hoka hey. Hoka hey, children. And then he's like, Hoka hey means 'tis a good day to die.
It's Lakota, I think he says.
Yeah, in Lakota. And Cheese goes,
None of us are Lakota.
None of us are Lakota. And Kitty Boy has the best answer to this. Like, oh god, he looks at Cheese, he goes, well, not all of us can be perfect.
Yeah, and just walks off. I would also like to point out that Kenny Boy is also extremely white.
Not all of us can be perfect. As they're walking off, Ansel turns to Kenny Boy and goes, I thought it was Hakuna Matata.
Yeah. And then we cut to their secret base where they're having the memorial for Daniel.
They're all dressed in suits and
black outfits, black tie, you know.
There's not a lot that happens in this scene. They all just say that they love him
and miss him. And then they walk out of their secret base.
And the Indian Mafia drives by on them, doesn't shoot them or anything, just has the windows down, flicks them off.
And we see that the Indian Mafia's car in the back, the trunk is just filled with copper.
And Willie Jack's like, that's our copper.
And then Bear's just like, that's our money.
Yep. I don't know if that's copper that they had already stolen and just hadn't taken to the junkyard yet, or if
I assume it was potential marks for more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like street lamps that they were going to take copper from and shit.
Then Mose and Miko on their bikes ride past the group, and they're like, the Indian Mafia is telling everybody that you're at war with them. And then they're like, oh, by the way, you're called the Reservation Dogs now because you didn't like the name Res Bandits.
Yeah, and they're kind of just like, what the fuck? But Mose and Miko take off, and all four of them are talking about how, well, we could just, dip. We've almost got our money. We can just get more and then dip. And Bear's just like, I can't do that. I can't just run off like that. That's not how this is going to go. I'm not going to let them run me off. And they all basically conclude that they are going to be vigilantes against them. Yep. And as they all walk off, movie style, Cheese kind of chases after them and goes, can I be, if we're the Reservation Dogs, can I be Mr. Camouflage? Yeah. And then that's basically the end of the episode. In the credits, we see Big just out in a field with there's a bunch of dead fish around him. Yeah. And then he goes to get in this car, but it's locked. Yep. So, what's your take on this first episode, Justice? So, the show is definitely amusing, and all of the characters that we actually see are actually really appealing. Even the ones that don't really have any depth, they're still appealing characters. Plot-wise, the show doesn't really have one, really, at the moment. It's kind of just here's the situation, now we're going to live a day in this life. It's very much like a slice-of-life show where it's just, we have a premise here, and then we're just going to exist in this premise, watching these people deal with what's going on in this. There doesn't appear to be a straightforward plot. So far, the plot is, we want to leave, we need money, go to LA. And, I would say the plot is more, we're trying to get money, and so we resemble gang activity. Yeah. And honestly, now this actual gang thinks we're a gang. Yeah, I guess, honestly, my conclusion of there doesn't appear to be a lot of plot in the episode comes more into the second episode, where there doesn't really appear to be a giant cohesive plot between episode 1 and 2 and then in episode 2 altogether. After the first episode, yeah, I'd definitely watch more. It's enjoyable, and I like the characters, and I like the situation. It's enjoyable. Yeah. You? Well, I like the show. In fact, I'm the one that kind of picked this. I saw an article on my phone in my news feed about it. I clicked it, read a little bit. I was like, I'm going to go ahead and watch that. So I watched the first 2 episodes, and I was like, yeah, told Justice about it. We ended up watching it, taking notes. Yeah, I like the show. There's 4 episodes right now on Hulu. I plan on watching the other 2 episodes after we finish recording this sometime tonight. But the show is pitched and listed, and anywhere you see it, it's listed as a comedy. And while it does have jokes, it definitely has jokes, and it's definitely got humorous situations, it doesn't feel so much like a comedy.
not like what I would expect out of a 30-minute like comedy show on TV.
It's very much not a sitcom.
It is definitely not a sitcom. It totally doesn't, like, it just, the tone of the show doesn't feel like it's a comedy. It's, the colors aren't right, the, like, dialogue and, like, situations in the show don't make for a comedy. Like you said, it feels more like a slice of life, but I still enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoy the characters. Like, each of the 4 main casts are incredibly memorable. They all have, like, their own personality, and, like, they're all very, like, obvious individual characters who have different thoughts and, like, beliefs and stuff. You have Bear, and he's the only one that's, like, actively guilt-ridden about what they're doing.
Yep.
But Allura, like, values the friendship she has with the group over potentially escaping from this area. Like,
yeah.
Well, she wants to get out, and she does blame the reservation for Daniel's death. She cares more about her friends and how they're feeling than, like, getting out. I don't know exactly where he sits on the whole, like, Daniel thing, but he
just kind of feels like he's there and he's friends with people.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and he doesn't really seem to have any giant moral ambiguities about anything.
Yeah.
He's just like, I mean, I can do that, and I don't feel any massive repercussions for it.
And I'm like,
but I'm not a horrible person either.
I'm also like 90% sure that most of the crime idea, like, has come from Willie Jack. She's been like, hey guys, I know where these 2 cars are that they never lock. The owners just don't lock the doors on these cars. Like,
yeah.
100% Willie Jack is that person.
Definitely feels like that.
But yeah, that's my take. I like this first episode. I want to see more. It's a good show so far.
So then, onwards to episode 2, Indian Clinic.
Spelled N-D-N.
All caps. So this episode, we start with Bear walking down an alley, I guess.
Yeah, listening to music.
It's just a giant fucking massive alley with gravel. It's a small area of a town, so alley, it's not going to be like a giant city.
Yeah, he's walking
it's
down.
More of like a side street.
He's walking down this side street with headphones on, listening to music, and he gets jumped by the Indian Mafia, 4v1, and obviously gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
I will say, I expected, like, just from, like, a TV writing perspective, like, that he would get like a punch in.
He gets one and doesn't really even connect, and then he just gets the shit beat out of him.
He makes 0 connecting hits and, like, gets the shit kicked out of him.
Yep. And then he has another vision when he's unconscious here
of William Knifeman,
who doesn't appear on his horse this time. He's just taking a leak behind the dumpster in the alley.
And Knifeman suggests that he should have run.
Yeah.
Even Custard wishes he would have run.
Yeah. And Bear's, he's kind of just talking about, like, that's how Bear should handle the Indian. And Bear's just like, it's fine, not going to be here forever. And Knifeman's just like, of course you're not going to be here forever. You're going to die eventually. And he's just like, no, I'm not.
From the day we die.
Yeah.
From the day we are born, we are destined to die.
And Bear's just like, no, I'm going to go to California. And then Knifeman's like, oh, so you're just going to run away? I like this immediate switch of, you should have ran away. Oh, so you're just going to run away, huh?
And then Knifeman is like, well, regardless, you should go to the clinic for that nose. It looks kind of ugly.
Yeah. And we see Bear with the others now go into the clinic. He's going to head inside, and the others are setting up to sell meat pies outside.
Indeed they are. These are the same meat pies from the previous episode, the ones Willie Jack made.
Being sold for $3. Honestly, not bad for a meat pie. Like, they're a pretty decent sized meat pie.
Yeah. So Bear goes into the clinic to sign in, and the receptionist in the clinic is a total asshole.
Yeah.
Which is a, like, continuous through line for the entirety of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, he's been here multiple times. His mother works here. He's like, don't you have my stuff on file?
Yeah, he's filling out his paperwork, and she takes it back when she notices he gets a bit of blood on it because his nose is still bleeding.
Yeah.
And hands him new paperwork to start filling out. And she's like, don't you have my information on file? My mom works here.
And then once he has his paper turned in, he's like, do you have any idea how long the wait is? And she's like, well, you've been here so often, you should know how long the wait is. Which is not how that fucking works.
Oh, yeah. And also when he mentions his mom, he asks her not to inform her, which, because I assume he's under the age of 18, doesn't stand. But her response isn't, because he's like, doctor-patient protocol, because he says protocol instead of confidentiality. Her response is, I'm not a doctor. But as someone working in a medical field like that, you're not allowed to give anyone's information away. Even if you're not the doctor. You're going to get your fucking ass fired. And I'm assuming she might be a nurse working the front desk. She would still lose her nursing license.
Yep. So we then cut to Cheese, who is walking around in the clinic. He's supposed to a jar filled with those mini candy bars, like those Hershey's mini candy bars. You know, Crackle, Mr. Good bars. Those candies you can't find full size of. But for some reason
Which is disappointing. I want a giant Good.
But for some reason, they still put in these mini sort packs, even though nobody likes them.
Fight me. Fucking fight me. Good bar, man.
It's funny because that's the same thing I was going to say before you interrupted me.
I realized, but fight me.
But he, like, grabs a handful of them, And then the optometrist reception, like, it's like, those are only for...
No, she walks in, he immediately goes to put them back, and she's like, those are free. And he goes to take more, and she's just like, for patients. He goes to put them back, and she's like, you can take one. So he takes one out, and he's just like, ah!
And she's like, well, you're here. How are your eyes? He's like, think they're good. And she's like, well, read the chart behind me. She's one of those, like, typical eye charts, the one that has, like, a giant E on top.
And the first 3 letters, I remember, it's a big E, and then below that was an F and a P.
Yeah, and she's like, just try to read that for me.
Start at the top.
We had a couple of cancellations today. We can fit you in if you need a checkup. And he's like, okay, whatever. He's like,
Z?
And she's like, the top. Start at the top. And he's like,
P.
Then she's like, oh, God. you need a, like...
Yeah.
Let me get you scheduled in here.
Who's your uncle?
Like
Charlie Johnson,
like,
whatever.
Do you have any family, mom, dad? We land on his uncle. Outside, though, Alora is sitting with Willie Jack, and she starts complaining that her stomach's hurting.
There's actually another thing here, and it's Big is just, once again, we see Big actually hitting on Bear's mom.
Oh, yes.
And his attempt to hit on her is talking about how he was poised with his gun, slowly pushing down on the trigger as he sees a guy coming across on a bike, getting slowly farther and farther away.
It's a story about how he almost killed his best friend one time. And
it's unclear if he did kill his best friend or not, because he talked about how there's a tear coming down his cheek, and God was just asking him if he would be okay with it. And then Rita cuts him off before we find out if he killed his best friend or not. And she's just like, shouldn't you be out, like, catching criminals?
Don't you? Or do you have, like, a doctor's appointment? Like,
yeah.
What are you doing? And she runs him off, yeah. Then we cut to outside where Laura and Willie Jack are sitting, and Laura starts complaining of her stomach hurting. Next to them, outside the clinic, is...
Fixico was his name.
Fixico, yeah. And
he's selling, according to his sign, real medicine.
Yeah, so they're like...
So traditional medicine. Okay.
Herbal remedies and whatnot. You know, shit that doesn't work.
I mean, some of it actually can work for minor stuff, but not for major things like a broken nose.
Yeah, so Willie Jack's like, you got anything for a stomach ache over there?
And he looks and just kind of shakes his head and
But, like, actually, before Willie Jack asks if there's anything, Laura starts complaining of her stomach, and Willie Jack's like, you have any of the meat pies?
Yeah. And,
like...
Laura's like, no. And Willie just, like, looks relieved.
But Laura has had some of the meat pies. She had one yesterday.
Yeah. But not any of this batch. Maybe it's a different batch.
Anyways.
We don't know how long the day difference is between these two setups.
That's a fair point. I might be missing something here. I'm just going to jump to what my notes say. From there, we jump to Cheese, and he's being seen by the optometrist.
There was a thing from Fixico when he's talking to them, when she realizes he doesn't have medicine, which is also, later, I think, but they cut back and forth between these, and so we can go to mash them together. He doesn't have the medicine, and before, when we first saw them, he was talking about how he should be careful because it's busy on Mondays at the clinic, and someone might curse them, and they might wake up a white man.
Yep. And
so when he doesn't have medicine, Willie just looks at Alora and is just like, looks like you gotta go to the white man for help.
Yeah. Then we cut to Cheesy. He's seeing the optometrist who... I recognize the actor.
Same.
But he's an Asian actor, and that actually comes up in this scene. I'm not just calling him out for being Asian. Not what I'm doing. Cheese is being seen by the optometrist who's like, okay, I need to dilate your eyes. And Cheese is like, why? And he's like, well, to check for diseases and, like, thinning retinas and stuff.
But I don't have diseases.
And she's like, well, I don't have any diseases. And the doctor's like, you won't know until I check. And he's like, you're lucky. If we were in the olden days, you'd already be dead. A bear or a tiger would have killed you.
Survival of the fittest, and you're not the fittest. And she's just like, well, neither are you.
And the doctor's like, yeah, but you have to do this because sometimes Native American eyes, they just fall out. So and Asians too sometimes.
Yeah. And then we have Alora going to check in.
Hold on. Is that a medical fact?
Yeah, definitely.
Do Native American eyes sometimes just fall out? Is that a thing?
Yep, totally. Definitely a thing.
Anyway, Laura and Willie are still at the table outside, and this guy who was riding a bike past Bear when he was getting beat up stops to get some meat pies. He's like, they good? And Willie's like,
damn right, basically.
They're the best. And he's like, well, I'll let you know what I think. And she's like, I don't give a fuck what you think.
And he's just like, also, I saw Bear get beat up, and he was crying his ass off.
Yep. He ends up buying 2 of the meat pies.
Yeah.
So...
And then that's actually where the interaction is with Alora having her upset stomach.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But whatever. Bad. So she goes inside, and she also has to talk to the annoying lady at the desk.
Yeah.
Who's just like, have you tried to go to the bathroom?
And Alora's like...
It's not that, it's something else.
She's like, oh, okay. Then types into the computer,
something else.
Yeah.
And then Alora, going to walk away, is just like, wait a minute. Goes back, and she's like, we're selling meat pies out front if anyone wants any. And then the lady's just like, hey, talking to everyone behind her in this, like, staff area. This girl who's in here because of a stomach ache is selling meat pies. Does anyone want any?
It feels like defamation. Like,
yeah, there's no
you're trying
correlation is not causation.
Like, she has had nothing to do with making the meat pies.
Yeah, she's literally
She's
just
not
been
ate any of
outside
the
where
meat
they're
pies.
being sold.
Yeah, like, anyways, Laura goes back outside to wait to get called, and then Bear comes back outside to wait.
No. You missed a great scene if you're trying to put Bear outside already.
Okay.
Big and Bear meet at a vending machine.
Oh, yeah, I skipped that scene.
And Bear is getting something from the vending machine, and Big walks up and he goes, "White man's bullets." Bear's just like, "What?" And Big goes, "Why? I said white man's bullets." "What?" "Sugar." Ugh.
The white man made it because they knew we had a sweet tooth.
We still fight in chemical warfare. And Bear's just like, "Well, what'd you come over here to get?" Big's response is, "An energy drink."
It's made out of energy.
And
it's organic.
Organic. Organ and then tick. Yeah.
Organic.
And Bear just looks at Big and walks off because that is the only appropriate fucking response there.
I love how stupid Big is. I know Big in real life. I have met this man.
So many Big.
But then, yeah, Bear's outside with Laura and Willie, and he's talking to them, and he's like, "Man, it's hard to be a leader. Everybody lying on you and everything." And Willie and Laura are like, "The fuck you talking about? Big Head came by and told us that you were crying when you got your ass kicked." And he's like, "I wasn't crying."
Also in this scene, we see the Indian. I think they're driving by, or we see them briefly real quick.
Yeah, they're driving by.
And then we go back inside with more desk stuff.
Because Bear gets called inside,
with desk stuff and the nurse. And it's just that he doesn't show up with his address doesn't match.
And so he has to correct it.
And while that's going on, Laura gets called back, and he's just like, "What the fuck? Why did she get called back?"
Yep. So
and the nurse just kind of smirks at him nastily as he sits back down.
Then we cut back outside where Cheese and Willie Jack are at the table. Mose, Miko, and Big are all there, not necessarily all buying meat pies. Mose and Miko are, but Big's like, they got onions in them.
Yeah.
And Willie's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Onions give me gas." And then Cheese is wearing those those
shitty plastic glasses that are made of that wrap around your head, and they're for when your eyes have been dilated, so you don't destroy them with sunlight.
And then
he's just eating a bag of Flamin' Flamers.
And Big notices the Flamin' Flamers and goes, "Where'd you get those? Where'd you get those chips?"
And she's just like, And then I think it's Miko that jumps in and is like, Miko. "That's the bag I gave you earlier, right?
We got it from Robin Cleo's. Yeah."
And Big's just like, "Truck of those got stolen. I hope you're not buying them on the black market or nothing."
It always feels like for a second Big is kind of getting it.
And then just his brain swerves.
Yeah. He's like, that's what you stole those. And he's like, "Nope, buying them on the black market."
Yeah.
Anyways, we cut from here to Cheese walking through the clinic.
Mm-hmm. Just walk. Someone has let this kid into the back of the clinic where it's set up almost more like a hospital because they have individual patient rooms.
Yeah.
And they're just letting him walk around. And as he's walking past a room, an old woman calls on to him.
An old blind woman, yeah.
Calls him grandson. And he's just like, she's like, "Do you come to see me?" He's like, "No." Saying no to the fact that he's not her grandson, but she's just like, "Oh," and he's like, "Why not?" And he's like, I've been busy with school." So he just kind of rolls with that for a moment.
And he gets stuck with her for the rest of the episode.
Yeah. This scene kind of tapers off with her talking about how she didn't expect to be here in the hospital.
She just wants to be outside again.
Yeah.
And then Bear somehow finds himself in the maintenance area of the clinic with a guy named Leon.
There's actually an explanation for this towards the very, very end.
Oh yeah, Leon
is Willie Jack's dad.
Yeah, Leon is Willie Jack's dad. I didn't catch that at the end, but I remember the first time I watched it.
Yeah, and he's just working on a weed eater back there.
Yeah, the two are talking. They're talking about nothing really. Bear's like, "You used to be in martial arts,
You used to know martial arts, right? Could you teach me?" And Leon's like, "Lesson number 1, stop blocking fists with your face."
Yep. And then Bear sees a picture of all of the group with Daniel before he died. He's like, "Oh, I've never seen this picture before." And Leon's like, "Oh, you can have it if you want. I've got another one.
I've got a LaserJet printer." And he goes off about all the details
technical
about
stuff,
it.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like he's making stuff up. He's like, it's got a future jet something or another.
Copper tip something or other.
Yeah. So Bear takes the picture.
And that's kind of just the end of that scene.
Yep. We then get to Laura, who's being seen by the doctor, who's also the optometrist.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You been eating anything weird?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" He's like,
"Sand, rocks, glass."
And she's like, I don't eat sand or glass. Not ruling
nothing
out
about rocks.
She doesn't rule that out. He's like, "Well, it's something you're eating. What are you eating?" And she's like,
"Flaming flamers." And he's like, "How many a day? One
tea?
10?
Give or take
10 to 14."
Yeah. He's like,
"Stop. Just stop.
Like,
that can kill you. Just stop it." Why?
She's like, "They're good though." And he's like, "It could kill you. Bread and soup,
white bread and soup. Take it easy." And he just walks out and I get that. I get that sentiment. People are so fucking dumb sometimes. Why? Why would you do that?
Bear then gets called back, and it's the same doctor again. He looks at him, he's like,
aren't you the optometrist? And the doctor's just like, I'm the everything doctor, the back doctor, the ass doctor, the foot doctor.
Yep. And so, like, the doctor kind of uses this to, like, suss out if Bear's mom's in a relationship or anything.
Well, at first he seemed much more, like, kind of dumb with it all, like he had been with Cheese and Laura. But the moment Bear mentions that his mom works here, he's like, oh yeah, Rita. You know, she's a joy to have around. She's just so great.
What's your dad think about you getting punched in the nose? And Bear's like, Dad's not around very often. He's like, oh, mm-hmm. And so the doctor uses this to try to, like, suss out if Rita's single, but
yeah.
Eventually he's just like, here, your nose is swollen. I got you some ibuprofen. And Bear's like, so...
Put a cooling pack on it.
So I shouldn't fight for a while? And the doctor goes, nah, fight as much as you want. And just leaves.
Yeah, which is...
He's simultaneously the worst doctor and the best doctor ever.
He has the traits of doctors that I like. They're just like, no fucking bullshit. It's just like, if you're an idiot, they're going to tell you you're a fucking idiot. Like, yep. My old family doctor used to do that, and it was fucking great. Like, I love that type of bedside manner. Where it's just like, if I did something fucking dumb, tell me I did something fucking dumb. I probably deserve it.
Bear did tell the doctor, though, that, like, he got punched in the face because he's the leader of a gang, and he got jumped. So the doctor then goes to talk to Rita, and
he's just like, you've raised such a wonderful kid. He's just great.
I bet it was tough to teach him how to, like, hunt and fish.
Fishing.
And she's like, I can hunt and fish. She's like, great, I would love to go hunting with you guys.
I would love to go hunting soon.
Again. And, like, she's like, why are you talking about my son? He's like, I just treated him. He had his nose busted from a gang fight.
And she's just like, what? And takes off.
So then outside, the Indian Mafia have, like, posted up on Bear's car. They're, like, sitting and leaning against it. So the Res Dogs, sans Cheese, because Cheese is currently busy with his grandmother.
Yep.
Like, go to get in a fight with the Indian Mafia, but Bear's mom comes running out of the clinic. And she's like, these the assholes that beat you up?
Yeah, they're all, like, right up in each other's face, trash talking, you know, kind of puffing up. No one has exchanged even a shove or anything yet.
And then Big runs out and, like, separates it as, like, you know, I could
run you all in right now.
No. He goes, no, I could arrest you. You know, I could arrest you.
No, if you're looking for the quote I've been using lately.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Do you want to get arrested? Do you know I can arrest you?
God.
Watch Zombieland Saga, by the way.
There's a cop in that show. He's the fucking, like, embodiment of ACAB.
Yeah, just watch Zombieland Saga. Just a side note. The Zombieland Saga. Watch it.
Do you want to get arrested? I can arrest you. That's what Big does here. And then the Indian Mafia kind of disperse.
Call Bear a mama's boy. And we kind of just end the episode.
Yep, well.
They're almost, but the actual end is we see Cheese walking by Bear.
They're back in the clinic, in the halls.
Bear's just like, what are you doing? And Cheese is like, it's my grandma. And walks her outside, parks on the curb. He pulls out, like, a little lawn chair, sits down in it, and they just watch the clouds come by.
Yep.
Enjoy the breeze.
That's the end of the episode.
Yep.
So, Justice, Reservation Dogs, go. What do you think of this episode and the show as a whole so far?
I really enjoy the show. Again, I love so many of the side characters that we even get for a bit, and it's just enjoyable. It is comedic, but not overly comedic, which is often a drain, too much in my opinion sometimes. And my favorite part about the comedy is there's no annoying canned laughter anywhere, because it's not a fucking sitcom.
The only spot that would even need canned laughter is, like, the
nothing. We never need canned laughter, because canned laughter would have been shoehorned in with the that's your cue, pull cue joke.
Well, no. Like, the only like scenes that would have even been appropriate for canned laughter would be the William Knifeman scenes. Speaking of, there's a William Knifeman scene in the clinic, which I guess would imply that Bear has a concussion, because as he's walking to his room in the clinic,
he just sees
William
Knifeman sitting on a table, waiting for a doctor.
Yep.
But no, I definitely enjoy it. And like I said, I think it's very much like kind of slice of life where we just have this premise set up and we're going to see maybe a bit of plot evolution as it goes forward, but not a lot, not quickly. And it's really just more of a day in the life of these people.
It reminds me of some other comedies, like Curb Your Enthusiasm in that regard.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, like...
Or Arrested Development.
Yeah, it has...
Except those feel more sitcom-y than this does.
Arrested Development strictly feels sitcom-y. Curb Your Enthusiasm
not
less
so
so, yeah.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about how they pace their show.
Yeah.
And just as a thing I want from this show, just one thing strictly. It's not even necessary, I just kind of want it. And I vaguely wanted it at the beginning of episode 1, but the end of episode 1 made me really want it. And that's just, I actually want Big to deal with supernatural shit, but none of it ever occurs or happens to anyone else. It's just Big dealing with supernatural shit in the background by himself.
I think it would have been excellent if that was just the end credits of every episode.
So just like weird shit Big gets into, like that's what I was hoping for with these end credits. I was just like, give me more Big weird shit happening.
Yeah.
But either way, show is good. Definitely check out Reservation Dogs.
Yeah, 4 episodes are out now on Hulu. Maybe episode 4 might come out tomorrow night.
I think it comes
Monday
out,
the 23rd.
Yeah, because I think it's episode 3, and I think the 4th one shows it's there, but not there yet.
Yeah, so it's a great show. I like it a lot. I plan on watching more of it. I'm going to keep it with this entire first season. This is my new weekly show. I don't have anything like that right now. I'm waiting on the return of the Rookie, There's nothing else weekly worth watching right now, in my opinion, other than Hell's Kitchen. I'm a Hell's Kitchen buff.
Yeah.
But yeah, this show is great. I'm going to watch it. I'm really excited because it's very different than most of what you get on TV. And I like it a lot. My fear is, though, because it's very different, that if you don't go watch it, it's not going to get a season 2.
Which would be depressing, so you should definitely go check it out.
A lot of shows I really liked never got a season 2. You specifically didn't
Whoever
go
you
watch
are,
it.
It's your fault.
You didn't watch it, and it didn't get a season 2.
It's your fault Firefly never got a second season. I don't care what age you are. You could be 5 years old. I'm still going to blame you. It's your fault Firefly never got a second season.
Can you imagine having that on your shoulders? It's like being your fault that Firefly got canceled.
Do you know how many nerds are upset about that? And it's all your fault.
If they knew who you were.
You're lucky we're not going to tell them. We're not that mean. We won't tell them it was you specifically, but you know who you are.
But yeah, go watch this so it doesn't get canceled, so nobody has to blame you for this like we're blaming you for Firefly.
Yeah. So if you want to, maybe talk about the show with us.
Or tell us why you let Firefly get canceled.
You can find us and do those things by coming to our site at copilotsreview.simplecast.com,
which has the links for all of our social medias, including our Twitter, which is at copilotsreview, our email, which is copilotsreview@gmail.com.
It has a link to our Discord, where we have a little section called episode discussion, where you can just straight up talk about this episode or any else that we've listened to, or you could even suggest other shit for us to watch that you want to tell us to watch so it doesn't get canceled, so you don't blame us for it getting canceled.
There's also a section on our Discord that is strictly for you to tell us why we're wrong about Being Human, the US version of the show, not being the best vampire media ever made.
You can't do it. It's impossible.
It's literally impossible.
You're never going to win.
Being Human is still the best vampire media ever made, and it's your fault we didn't get a season 4.
Season 5, right? We have season 4, just never got a DVD. Box set.
That's right. It's your fault it never got a season 5.
Or a DVD box set for season 4. I'm going to blame you for that too.
Anyways, thanks for flying with us.
And please, fly again soon.